I mean, my mind is melted.
This is the fun part where we get to talk about our misery instead of live through it.
It was like a counseling session of Postal content creators.
Yeah, and how fucked up we all are.
We have an Easter egg in the film that nobody has found out yet.
That's right.
You'll have this inside scoop here with your audience, so if they can go back and watch the film, there's a hidden Easter egg at a certain frame, and that's all I'll say.
Talking about Postal for 5 years. I know Tad's is way more melted than mine, but like imagine doing it for like 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
Well, you're getting there, aren't you? Not 25, 30, but like you're getting to the few year mark now.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I went back through the Indiegogo because I was trying to build like a bit of a timeline in my head about the parallels of our journeys, I guess, whatever, with Postal. And I didn't make my first Postal video until like a little bit after you guys had finished the Indiegogo campaign.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it was like a counseling session of recently admitted Postal content creators and how they feel.
Yeah, and how fucked up we all are.
You make a good point that like I told you on our initial call that I had drawn some inspiration, I think Jason did too, from like your Postal videos when we were working on the documentary. We would send each other videos, and then looking back, they were your videos. So it's kind of funny how we both intertwined without indirectly ever having any conversations until the documentary was out. In hindsight, it would have been great. I know I told you this earlier, but it would have been great to have you a part of the film. We just never crossed paths in that time. But again, the film was already chock full of so many people. It was hard to include everybody as it was.
Yeah, no, I can.
Yeah, the Postal iceberg video was definitely a big part of our research early on.
Thank you. That's it's so like, well, first of all, yeah, thank you for that. I do really appreciate that. But yeah, it's so weird to be in this space now where there is like a crossover between stuff that you see like on the screen essentially, and then you actually talk to the people. Like talking to you guys is kind of, I don't know, not surreal, but I don't know, it's just odd to like, yeah, go and like watch the documentary and stuff and be like, man, that's fucking awesome, and then actually sit down and talk to you guys, because yeah, everybody's human and we're all just like doing our thing.
It is strange when you think about it that way. It's who's behind the paintbrush, right? It's always kind of interesting to see.
So I was going to ask, because the documentary, you guys made it sort of just before COVID hit, or you were making it while, you know, the pandemic was going on?
COVID hit when we were at PAX East, literally 2 weeks before PAX East. Like you can see in the footage, like there's people wearing masks. Like that's at the early stages of COVID, and we had to reevaluate how we were going to shoot everything, which took a while because we were in lockdown ourselves.
Coming out of it, I think we even started off pretty slow as well. We were still trying to figure out our footing and our direction and storytelling and all that. It was so hard to say what we really wanted to do early on because we were just like so excited to do it, and we just filmed everything. Which, looking back, Tad, I'm sure you can attest, was a good and a bad thing. We had way too much content, which was great, but we had way too much content, so it was just way more work on the back end.
Was there any interviews like that you hosted or like saw the footage of later and were like sort of surprised by? Like, was there anything that really took you aback or weren't expecting it to go the way it did necessarily?
It's a really good question.
I think there was a expectation of going into certain interviews where maybe English wasn't someone's first language. And so that was always kind of a difficulty trying to figure out how to get the right messaging from them, or, you know, have us pick their brain in a way that made sense for the storytelling aspect. And for me, I think it was kind of interesting to like be in the interview and you're locked in with somebody speaking like English as a second language, and you're trying to like filter what they're saying. And, you know, good on all the people that spoke, you know, English as a second language, because I can't really speak any other language. But it was really
I can barely speak English.
Yeah. But it was really cool to have these people try and do their best and actually come across, really nicely as to what they were trying to say. But like going back and like re-listening to those interviews and having to understand like, oh, maybe I understand it because I've rewatched it like 5 times, but maybe we have to be cognizant of maybe how someone else interprets it. Because we interviewed people in like Poland and Germany and Russia, and like some were stronger speakers than others. I mean, all in all, I think everyone did a great job. But it was just interesting when you add sort of that international flavor to the film and translating it for a cohesive story.
The thing for me is that we would find stories as we were going along in the Postal legacy. There's so much history that we would do our research and we would have Mike and Vince tell us things. And then when cameras are rolling, Vince would be like, oh yeah, I worked on Spy versus Spy and I worked on this Hulk Hogan game. And it's like, wait, you didn't tell us that? Like, because there was just so much history that you couldn't get to every single thing. So it was kind of hearing things for the first time and then figuring out, okay, where do we go from here? And then also hearing from like all of the Postal movie people, Uwe Boll, Zach Ward, Larry Thomas, about their experiences. Because you read about stuff online and they have busy schedules. So you don't have that accessibility to have a conversation with them beforehand as much as we did with Mike and Vince. So we learned a lot of the tidbits and the really cool stuff and the crunchy stuff that you're actually seeing in the film while we were running cameras. And then we would dive into that a little bit more. But yeah, no, it was a great experience because we're also kind of shocked too. And then Mike and Vince are so funny. Sometimes we would have to like remove laughs in the background because of our team chuckling. But it's a good problem to have, but it definitely made it a little bit more difficult in the edit.
I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but what I thought was really funny was we had an interviewee who had like a really bad cut on the side of their nose, and we didn't notice it. And we're going back and reviewing the footage, and we're like, man, that's a really noticeable cut. Why did we shoot that angle? And we're like trying to justify it, and we're just like, oh man, that does not look good. Like, what do we do? And we were like coming up with all these solutions, and finally we're like, why don't we just hire someone to like remove it? And we're like, oh yeah, that's a thing. We can have, it's special effects, it's movie magic, just have someone remove it. And we found someone that like removed it right away, and we were just mind blown. And I think it was a good lesson learned where we're like, there's nothing that we can't do as long as we find a way to do it. And in my mind, it was always a block like, oh, it's just there, we have to live with it. And then I think at one point Tad's like, no, we could actually remove it, we just have to find the right person.
It wasn't until Mike J texted us, it was like, hey, you guys got to remove that, because it was in the rough cut when he saw it, and he's like, yeah, you guys got to remove that because it was so bad. And I didn't think it was that bad. That was actually our colorist that removed it. Surprisingly enough, he basically matched the skin tone to the cut. And so you can't, it's very, very unnoticeable. It's one of the, I won't put a name to it, but it's in the film. And that was really amazing.
I won't put a name to it, but it's the,
well, we have a couple, we have like 4 or 5, so I don't know. But we did have microphones being removed in the film. So in like the first basement scene, when Mike and Vince go underneath into the basement, we had these really ugly dead cats that were on Mike and Vince, and I was always comfortable with it, but Jason,
like a dead dick, dude. It was just like a chode right at the like base of their neck, and you're like, no, dude, you're being too picky. It's fine, it's production value. And I'm like, I think we should remove it. And then finally one day, like, you just sent me clips or something of it removed, and you're like, look, Jason, I removed it. I was just like, oh damn, thanks for doing that.
The funny thing too is that microphone that Vince was wearing wasn't actually plugged in. He had unplugged it in his pocket too. So there was no reason for us to have it at all. We just basically painted it out for no reason other than it to not look ugly. But the audio you're hearing is actually from Mike J's microphone from Vince talking. Just funny things like that working on set that you'll never notice when you're watching the movie, but just a part of the movie magic. If it's distracting, then it pulls you out. So obviously if it's not distracting, then we did our job well.
I'm going to notice it now. I'm going to go through when I watch it again and be like, where's that cut? Where's those microphones?
I was
just
thinking,
look for the chode. If someone can look for the chode and email us or identify where you think it might be, then we'll give you a free signed Blu-ray.
we actually have a we have an Easter egg in the film that nobody has found yet. Nobody has called us out on it
Oh,
yet.
that's right. We do. We've never, honestly, we should actually post that on Twitter.
We should, yeah.
No one's
So,
identified it yet.
You'll have the inside scoop here with your audience. So if they can go back and watch the film, there's a hidden Easter egg at a certain frame, and that's all I'll say.
I'm not going to post this interview until I found it now.
You're gonna go and find it. There you go. Go at the whole movie frame by frame.
Dude, I noticed something that I about your channel that I really appreciated. You used to do Warcraft 2 content, right?
Yeah, so originally I was doing Warcraft WoW stuff because you flipped it around. You're interviewing me. Motherfucker.
I wanted to bring it up because I'm a huge like Tides of Darkness fan. Like that was one of my OG games I played as a kid.
Funnily enough, I still get the odd comment asking if I'll ever do another episode of Warcraft Geography, and every now and again I'm like, I could probably do it at some point, and then nah.
Yeah. Okay, if it wasn't Postal, like what other game that you haven't made content on would you want to be known for if it was like specific?
Fucking, you're flipping this on me now. I'm interviewing you, goddammit.
It's cool to talk to a content creator like yourself, and I really like your channel.
Thank you, man. Fucking flipping the script on me, goddammit. That's a good question. I haven't thought about that. Fuck.
It'd be a hybrid. It'd be Warhammer and Postal, or Warfare and Postal combined. Warcraft. God damn, there's so many war games and series out there.
Wow,
I'm just showing the war.
You just revealed to all of Buff's channel that you do not know what Warcraft is.
Yeah, all of the 6 people that are still subscribed for Warcraft content. God bless him. God bless him. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, I can't even remember her name just because my brain's so upside down from this. Tad, what is it? Cunny?
Yeah.
Okay. Tad just kept saying Cuntley, and Mike J finally like had an outburst about it. It was so funny. He's like, it's not Cuntley, it's Cunny.
I just said it just because I knew it pissed him off.
Yeah.
Frankly.
I think cunty is funnier, frankly. Actually, I think it would have been more fitting, I think, if it was like a Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man thing and just called it Miss Crotchy.
Oh, that's funny.
What's your game series real quick that you would do?
Oh, fuck. I don't know, Minesweeper? I'm not sure.
What if you did content on Crotchy and Cunny's relationship?
I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think that's gonna work out for me.
Is there that much
We're giving
lore?
you $1 million ideas here.
Oh, then why don't you do it? It's such a good idea.
Imagine if we did an entire documentary on like Crotchy lore.
I think it would be about 10 minutes long, maybe.
I don't think there's enough lore for us to dive into. I think it's very baseline lore.
I mean, you don't think Postal has that much lore, but it does.
He's not wrong. I was just something you said before about sort of keeping things on track and looking at things over a longer timeline. I was wondering how, because it took so long for the documentary from conception to now, how you guys maintained sort of like passion and energy for actually doing it for that long. Because I know for me personally, it's like as soon as I have an idea, like a timer starts in my head, and I've only got so long before I just start to fucking hate that idea or like not want to do it anymore. So I need to pounce on it immediately and start writing and try to get as far as I can before that initial excitement wears off. So I was wondering, because it just took so long and it is such a mammoth effort on you guys' half with so many moving parts and so much scheduling, so many interviews, so many people, so much collecting of like archived information. How did you stay on course through the entire thing? Like, was there ever a point where you were just like, let's fucking can this and like move on?
The short answer is we had a bunch of donors, right, that donated to the campaign that we always wanted to be faithful to. obviously Mike and Vince, we wanted to be faithful to them too, because they allowed us to be able to tell their story, and we didn't want to just say, all right, see ya, we're done, because we could have easily done that, right? But I think also Postal had so much history in 25 years that it never really got boring as far as the content goes. Like, if you look at Postal 1, which is like Act 1 in our film, things are changing all the time. I mean, we're going all the way back from this to the start of like the 70s in video games, like with Atari and Activision, and then jumping all the way up to the 80s, 90s, and present day. So we were always telling a new story, so it never became stale. Like, if we were just making a documentary on Postal 1, I think we'd be having a different conversation. But telling that story was fun and creative, and it was a nice creative outlet for us too, because we both have day jobs, and I run a video production business that does corporate and commercial and weddings. So it was nice and refreshing to be able to put my energy into something that was fun and creative. Don't get me wrong, there were definitely times where we got frustrated and we were just like, how do we go about this? And thankfully we had a good team. We had 3 other editors, technically 4, including Jason, and then myself. So 5 editors total. So we had a lot of people working on the team. So at that point, we were kind of too deep into the process to ever say, like, we got to pull out, right? And I kind of always compared ourselves kind of to like a video game developer in a way, where you're working on a project for so long and you have so many people that are relying on you, and investors too. And I always wanted to see us come out the gate, and I was always curious what the film would look like at the very end of the day. I'm very proud of it, but yeah, it took an effort, took a village for sure to get us to where we are. Jason, I don't know about you.
Because it's a passion project, I mean, obviously we had to stay on the horse through passion as much as possible. I think there were definitely times where maybe we were more turned on than other times. I know there's been, spurts of times where maybe I had more energy than Tad, or Tad had more energy than me. And we'd always kick each other in the butt and try to get each other back on track. I think we're kind of going, I think we had a good rhythm. But I think towards the middle tenure, we're kind of like, life gets busy, things happen. And then I would say, the last year and a half, especially, we were just like, we need to hunker down and finish this movie. And it was just like, I felt like it was just like adrenaline at that point. It was just sort of this idea of, if we finish this, people are going to see it. And it just was a very exciting idea. So every time we'd finish a little bit of something, we would watch it and we'd be like, okay, this is like a little bit closer to what we imagine. And you just start seeing it slowly come together. And eventually you get enough to where you believe. And I mean, like, you got to believe all the way through, but you just you get re-energized every time you see like a little something. I mean, there's been times where we're completely deflated. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we watched a cut or like a segment or a sound design or like an animation or something, and it just wasn't the vision we had, and we're just like, oh shit, this sucks, like this is rough. And then we'd have to pick each other back up and be like, no, it's gonna be okay, like everything's gonna be fine. Also, we wore like every single hat you possibly could on set, principal and post. We were doing everything, so I think that was part of the stress. And if we didn't know something, we had to learn it. It wasn't like we were hyper focused on like one job, which is typically what you do for a bigger budget narrative type of film. But, an independent passion project, we had to do everything.
We had over 24 terabytes of footage at the end of the day on the film, which is crazy. Probably for me, I got a little bit burnt out at the very end once the film was done. Just because we would have to QC it so many times. So like every time a new color palette would come in, every time a new sound design would come in, we'd have to watch the film completely to make sure there's no issues. And then we were designing the Blu-ray at the same time, working on our
100 times.
I think we did. Between us, me and Jason, and our assistant producer Trey, we probably watched the film 100 times. And then we would go to a film festival and watch it again. So at that point, you can imagine just like how burnt out you are on watching your own movie. But it's nice because you get to hear people's like raw, organic like reactions in the theater, which was cool. Things that you've seen so many times and you're like, oh my God, is this still even funny? You have no idea. You lose a lot of that aspect. But for people who are seeing it for the first time, like that's, I think, what kind of made me come back and be like, okay, it was all worth it.
I guess that's all you can do. when it's a situation like that where you have to watch it over and over and over again is to then try and see it vicariously through other people or through their experiences. It's funny you mentioned the what is it, 25 terabytes of footage, because I was curious as to like, yeah, how many hours of interviews and how much additional footage was sort of left on the cutting room floor, because I imagine there's like a lot, even though the documentary's huge, and there's all the bonus content in the Blu-ray. I still haven't had a chance to look at it yet. It's right here, but I haven't. I know.
Do you know how much time we spent on the bonus features? Did you listen to the director's commentary? Me and Tad talking for 2 hours.
Well, that's what I'm doing now. I was hoping you guys could just redo it for me right here.
We had to listen to our own director's commentary like 5 times. I'm like, oh my God, this is so much. I don't know if I think we did it correctly, but yeah, it's a lot of revisements. Sorry, you're talking about how much content was left on the cutting floor.
Yeah, no, I was curious about that because there is just so much stuff, like so much footage, so much archived, like newsreels and just all, like, I remember that when I first started watching it, I was like holy fuck. Like, as somebody who, like, anytime I see anything Postal related, especially older stuff, I archive it for myself and, like, you know, in a document or whatever, because I might need it later. And there was so much shit in the documentary where I was just like, I have never fucking seen any of this before. I didn't even know this existed, and I'm furious that you have it all. Is there anything that you guys feel like you missed out on? You know, something that you were like, oh, this would really complement the story if we could find it, and then it just couldn't be found or it couldn't be dug up?
Maybe the lack of interviews that we had from like the politician side or government side, perhaps. But I do like that we don't have a lot of content from them, like firsthand content, because it made them feel like this sort of shadowy, antagonistic sort of figure, which isn't necessarily our like intent, but maybe it comes off a little bit like that. It's not like we completely disagree with the government and think that everything they did was bad, but like I think they actually had good intentions when it comes to the story of Postal. I mean, nobody wants to expose children to any, you know, anything evil or you know, violent. And at that time, video games were seen as being ultra violent, especially photorealistic ones, and Postal was one of them. So I get the intent, but it would have been nice to maybe have like a few sound bites from like Huckabee, for example, or, you know, anybody else. But I mean, I don't know. I feel pretty happy with, I think we overshot. I think we did like 40 plus interviews. I'm sure Tad probably can chime in more, but like, it's a long documentary. There's a lot of interviews.
Yeah, we did want to get, well, Rick Hunter was elusive. We didn't get him initially. It took us a while to get Rick Hunter. Thankfully, he's in the film. We were prepared not to have him in the film. We were very close to just saying, all right, we can't have Rick Hunter in the film anymore, because we tried. And it's funny because we had a UK friend of ours who interviewed Jake the Voice, who had interviewed Rick Hunter years before, who reached out to him on our behalf. And Rick was literally down the street from us in Tucson. So it's funny, we had somebody in the UK reach out to him to get in touch in the same state, literally down the road. It ended up working out, which was great. I think I would have always liked to have interviewed Mike Rydell, but he's very elusive. We tried to get a hold of him, but Vince and him don't have a relationship anymore. So that, you know, it just wasn't gonna work out. Like Jason said, there's already so much talking head in the film. It would have been great to get Joe Lieberman. Joe Lieberman, I think, passed in the middle of production. So, but, and then Mike Huckabee's office told us no. They were just like, no, we don't want to be involved with this. Sorry. And we're like, all right, well, we're going to say that, you know, you denied to be in the film, and we didn't end up saying that in the film. Content in the film, terabytes wise, like there's probably, if I were to guess, like maybe 2 terabytes of footage in the timeline, like in the actual film itself. So that's like 22 terabytes of footage that's like still on our hard drives, whether those are interviews or behind the scenes footage or B-roll. Like, granted, a lot of the footage in the film is like some of the best bits. So like you're seeing all of that, right? Like Mike J bowling, you're not going to want to see a full terabyte of him bowling. But like there was 10 hours of Postal DVDs that we had transcribed from VHS tapes and mini DV tapes that Vince gave us we kind of talked about this when we had our call.
Yeah.
Vince gave us an entire box, which I think you can see at the beginning of the film in the basement. It says like Postal DVDs or Postal VHS tapes. So we transcribed those twice through 2 different VHS transcribers and got the actual digital media from that. So me and Jason spent hours and hours just going through 10 footage of all of this. But there's still a lot of content. Like we could just do a YouTube channel just with like all the Postal content. Maybe in the future, if this really sells well, we'll do like a big special box or special edition. If me and Jason ever, want to dig deep back into the world of Postal right now, we still just need a little break.
Not that I'm there yet, but I can definitely empathize with having something like one series, one company, one sort of thing in mind, one project in mind for that long, and just being like, I just need a fucking break before I can think about it, even though you're here giving an interview about it right now.
No, we love doing this though. We absolutely love it.
This is the fun part where we get to talk about our misery instead of live through it. So
yeah,
that's true.
You can hold your heads high and just soak in the glory, soak in the aftermath of it all.
As much as we can.
Just PTSD flashes just occasionally as we talk.
I guess one other thing was, did you guys over the course of the documentary, unrelated to Postal on that note, was there anything that you learned, maybe even not even to do with filmmaking or media, was there anything that you learned that really has sort of stuck with you through the process?
Do you want me to start, Ted?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to think about it.
Okay. I think for me, it's just maybe my ability to multitask and endurance. We would work during the day, and then at night we would switch our brains to Postal and edit, as late as we could. I just realized that like that type of hard work and endurance it's tough. Like, working like 16 plus hour days, like every day for however long we did, and then sacrificing your weekends for, shoots and driving a couple hours to go snag an interview, and then, giving up a weeknight to go film some B-roll. It's a lot. And like, I realize that you have to really do it full time to be sane. And then, to do it on top of a full-time job is like borderline insanity. But I mean, I think it was a big test of endurance and just like really pushing your limits and learning patience. I mean, there's certain situations towards the end of our tenure of working together that I think I would have been like less privy to being like more conflict orientated, or using certain techniques of conflict resolution better. But like when you get to know somebody, like me and Tad for so long, I think like you can, if you had like a track record of the arguments and like the miscommunications we had at the beginning versus like towards the end, it's like you could see growth, right? Like it really tests you and it tests the team, and you really are forced to work with each other for long periods of time. And it's like, like Survivor, I just started recently watching Survivor again, and all these people having to put up with each other and working together on an island. It's just like that's how it felt sometimes, and so for me that's kind of my takeaway, is being able to like push myself while also sticking with the team as much as possible, not giving up.
That show's fake, by the way, right? It's so fake.
Survivor fake? No.
We learned in film school from one of our film professors. Me and Jason went to the same film school.
Have you seen before and after photos of their weight gain on island? They're definitely surviving out there.
I don't believe it. They're all taking Ozempic.
All right, we're going to talk about this afterwards. I'm a huge Survivor fan.
So like I was saying, me and Jason met in film school, and I always kind of joke. We actually met after film school, but we went to the same film school. But they don't really teach you a whole lot about like how to actually produce a movie, like at least where we went. They teach you kind of the fundamentals of like film history, at least in our school, but not the real practical ways of like how to produce a movie independently, whether that might be like investors or how to make those relationships. Film school is great for like building relationships and meeting people and meeting friends. Like our colorist I met, and he's working on like Marvel shows and stuff, and like he did the color for the film. So We wouldn't be here if we didn't meet those people. But as far as the practicalities, like I think for me, making a film has helped me learn like what I really needed to know in film school. And it's really like the best kind of schooling in its entirety. Me and Jason always joke that we could like teach how to make a movie now, because we did, and we did it independently, truly independently. And it's made me realize, you know, like we were talking about earlier, like you don't have to be boots on the ground. You can go out and hire people to do shoots for you, but also trusting a team. Like as much as me and Jason were involved in this, sometimes we realized we needed to bring somebody else on board, like have an honest conversation. Also to get a different set of eyes on the film, because you can get a biased when you're watching the film over and over and over. So having other opinions was I think helpful for us to not like get our egos get super buried into the film, like and letting people tell us, yeah, this isn't working out, or this is really working, and for us to adjust that. We had a segment in the film earlier on, which is on the Blu-ray, which is called PUMC, which is the Parents of Murdered Children segment. Basically, Vince was approached by Oprah after, I don't remember if it was Postal 1 or Postal 2, but he was approached by Oprah. I think it was after Postal 1, and basically they were going to team up on him, but they didn't tell him. Like they were going to all of a sudden show up and be like, they were basically going to kind of gang up on him about, you know, violence. And that's something that we had to ultimately cut from the film, just based on people telling us, you know, this didn't fit, or it was just too long. Again, you can see it on the special features, but it was nice to have those opinions from not only our crew, but also Mike and Vince too. Like they were very honest with us from the get-go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know I kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but hopefully that kind of answered.
Yeah, I will say too, the one big thing I learned from this process is making a movie costs money. I always feel like there's this like, a lot of independent filmmakers always give this advice, and I've seen so many panels where they're like, you can do it, just go out and believe in yourself, and if you really believe in it, you'll find the money and you'll make it happen. I think that's just crap. I think the reality is it costs a lot of money, and you have to seriously understand your finances of your project and your scope in order to make a movie. I mean, we went out and raised money, and we put our own money in, and we went to private investors, and it was always stressful and a sticking point. And money management is really important. And, you know, it kind of falls under the hat of just like, you know, being a producer, and we produced our film together. But like I don't want to go out and tell filmmakers, like young filmmakers, like, oh, you can do it. Like, just put your heart and mind into it. It's like, dude, you need some money to do this. And like, it's costly. And I think even for me and Tad, we were like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, like, yeah, we're going to make like 5 projects and we're going to jump on the next project. Now we're like, how do we think about this from a different type of angle, where like we understand that this is a product, and although it's passion, we have to make money, and we have to earn back money in order for this to be sustainable. You can't mess around when it comes to dollars and cents. Like, you have to be able to figure that out. I mean, there's been times where me and Tad are just like have long phone calls. We're like, oh my God, we spent so much money. What do we do? And,
or we lost so much money.
Yeah, we lost so much money. What do we do? Or like, oh my God, we're making money here. Or that, you know, it just like, it goes back and forth. But like, yeah, it's tough. It really is.
Yeah, there will always be a strenuous relation between art and commerce.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's sort of, no, I'm not super related, but I was going to say well, first of all, I really admire your guys' like relationship dynamic, whatever you want to call it, because it seems like you guys work really well together and are like a solid foundation, especially at the basis of all this. And sort of semi-related was the way that you guys told the story in the documentary was really impressive to me, because I'm not like a big documentary consumer, but I was a bit taken aback at first that the whole thing, there was no narration, like sort of telling the audience through it. It was just told through the medium of what was being presented through interviews or through, you know, the odd bit of text here and there, but mostly through the interviews or just what was being presented. And I thought that was like extremely impressive, just based on that. Again, I don't know how common of a technique that is, but it was something that really sort of caught me off guard at first, and then I was like, damn, that's like, so there's no narrator after like half an hour, but I was still completely engaged with it as an actual story that you're telling. And something else I wanted to say was that it's just going off that Oprah and the parents of murdered children thing, was that I think you guys did a really, really good job of being quite balanced in your approach to social commentary, I guess you'd call it. It like, because it could have very easily just been completely one-sided and say, no, fuck all these people, they're all wrong, Postal's the GOAT, and, you know, that's just it, like, that's the final word. But I and especially, you know, I don't want to say these days, but just in general, I think in media especially, it's so much easier to paint with a broad brush and just paint one side as the enemy, or one person or group or whatever as the enemy, and allow no breathing room. But I think, not that you guys went into it like overboard with it or anything, but just to leave the door open a bit for, you know, heavier conversations and to include it in general, I think is good, for lack of a better word. I think it's very tasteful. I don't know if that's really the right word, but I don't know, shows a lot of character, I guess, and just shows like sort of an unwillingness to be completely one-sided, or just to like open that door a little bit.
No, I really appreciate you saying that. You know, I guess I never realized that for me personally, I think Tad probably feels this way too, just getting to know him after all these years of being close friends. I personally don't think in black and white, and it just seems like it's very common for people to think black and white, whether it's religion or politics or how they feel about like a movie or a game, like it's the best thing ever, or this completely sucks. And it just like, it kind of goes to show, like, you know, especially watching this documentary, that there are conversations to be had when it comes to a subject matter. Like, you can't just go one way or another. That's actually not how any human operates. Everyone is gray to some extent. Maybe you lean more on one spectrum than the other, however you perceive, you know, or perceive that being. But we're all complicated. We're all kind of ambiguous. I think we all just, through tribalism and just ease of conversation, we tend to think in black and white, but I think deep down most people don't. So it was really fun kind of like playing both sides of the coin, and you know, say that, you know, Tad always says this, that we were kind of like the journalists. We were trying to just tell the story. You know, we're not Fox News or CNN and trying to pick like one side or the other. We're just trying to be just independent journalists on this. And like, yeah, maybe some points we favor a little bit more on this subject matter or that, but I think overall, like, you watch it and you feel that way. So I appreciate you pointing that out. And it's funny though, because I remember we got some recent reviews. They were just like, oh, this is such a puff piece, and this was paid by running with scissors. And I was just like, really? You felt that way? Because we definitely go in on RWS many times in the documentary, to the point where, like, I think they felt away a little bit sometimes about some of the portrayals, but they were good sports about it, you know? But yeah, no, it's a nice observation that you had there.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I don't think I could have said it any better than Jason. Going back to the narration bit, I think that would have been the easy way out, to be honest, because there was a show that came on when we were in production, which we both really love, called High Score on Netflix, and it has a narration throughout it. But that's a different kind of story, where it's telling the audience a little bit about the history of video games throughout, you know, all time. And Vince and Mike have such strong personalities that we really wanted it to come from them too. Plus, I mean, who would narrate it, right? You know, without being biased. But you know, at the end of the day, when we both sat down and finished the film, I think, you know, we both felt pretty strong that we went at it with you know, no bias. Granted, there are people we talked to throughout the whole production that definitely floated on one side and the other. So we could have definitely, gravitated towards one side or the other. But for the most part, like I told Jason, we had to be journalists throughout the whole process. But no, we're just really happy that you enjoyed it, and that means a lot to us.
Oh, thanks, man. No, yeah, I think you guys have done like a phenomenal job, and like I keep saying, to stay on it for so long, and to finally reach the finish line, so to speak, and have it like, I don't know, to have like a physical thing like that, sitting across the world and stuff like that must be. I hope it feels good, and you guys can sort of revel in that a little bit now, even though you probably never want to think about Postal again for at least a little while. I guess one final question would be, do you have any regrets?
We asked that question to all of our interviews, pretty much.
Really?
I think that's the first time I've been asked it, though. And I don't know. Have you been asked it, Ted?
I don't think so. No. So thank you.
Fucking
thank
gotcha.
You,
fucking gotcha.
Flipped it on us. Wow.
No regrets. No regrets at all.
I think I have like a mild regret of just not, sometimes I felt like, I could have put in some more energy from time to time, put in some more effort from time to time. It's hard to say like, or gauge what kind of effort or time goes into a project when you just see the final product. But like, it was such a complex and long production cycle that like, there are times where you just feel like you just hate everything and you're down and out. But like, there are times where you just have to keep pushing on. And admittedly, I look back and I'm like, I think I did do a good job, but I could have done better. And for me, like, I like that, because for my next project or our next project, I'm going to do better. And I think that's part of life, is like, I'm not going to sit here and say I did the best I could, because then I am the best, right? Because then I have no way of leveling up. For the next project, I want to level up, and I hope that I can make an even better documentary, an even better project. So just take those lessons, and you trip a few times, you get up, you dust yourself off, and on to the next. And it's a big on to the next, right? Like finishing a feature documentary. It's weird to be like, oh yeah, we did that. But it's crazy everything you learn from a project like that. But other than that, no regrets.
There you go. No,
Level Up would be a good title for a documentary, Jason. We should keep that on the backlog there, the back of our head.
Let's do it. Well, I actually wanted to ask you a quick question before we go. Not to flip the script, but I was interested in your process. I don't know if you ever talked about this to your audience, and maybe your audience is interested in hearing this too. When you develop a YouTube video or a project, right? What is your process like for when you come up with an idea? Because like you put a lot of like effort into it, and I'm just curious like what your pre-production like really looks like, or your creative process looks like.
It's dog shit. It's a mess. I never went to school, or like, I mean, I went to school. I never went to school for like film or and did pretty miserably in my younger years. I got diagnosed with like ADHD like a few years ago, and like looking back, I'm like, holy fuck, I'm behind now because of that. But yeah, it's sort of like I have like an Excel spreadsheet, and just some like Google Docs and stuff like that are just like full of ideas, and some stuff is obviously like better for streams or better for shorts or whatever, but sort of like I said ages ago was like once I have an idea, usually especially if there's like a time sensitive part of it, I need to just like jump on that idea and just go as quickly as I can before I run out of steam, because even like really, really good ideas or something that I'm really looking forward to doing, it's like I'll just stop caring about it after so long. And if that happens like before I finish writing the script, it's like it's trouble, because that means that part takes the longest time. And like writing the script is always the longest and most laborious part, just because I really love to research shit and find out more information, and sometimes that's the problem with that, is knowing when to stop when it's substantive enough, and also the problem of feeling like imposter syndrome, like what gives me the right to speak on this with authority, even though it's just a regurgitation of information sometimes. Yeah, the thing I struggle with is just synthesizing that information into a script and writing it in a way, because because I guess that's why I was asking about your guys' process, especially because you're on a team. I'm a little bit envious of that, because it's just me for the most part. Like, I still might talk to people here and there or float ideas or get people to look at scripts and stuff, but it really is just me alone in a room for like 95% of it or more. And like you said, it's many different hats. It's not just like click record and then go and it's done. It's like, think of the idea, research, synthesize the information, try to proofread the script, try to edit the script to make sure it's all good, record, edit the recording, make sure that's all good, then start the actual editing process, and then you've got to get all the gameplay footage and find sources and all that sort of shit. And I do my best to be as thorough as possible so that I'm not getting anything wrong, because like once it's out, and like obviously you can put a retraction in the comments or whatever, but like it's fucking shit to post a video and then that is distracting from it in the comments, or like people go to leave a comment, maybe they wouldn't have left a comment before, so maybe it's a good thing sometimes, but for them to leave that comment, it's enough of a distraction. And like people love to tell people they're wrong and correct them, and I fucking hate.
Especially on the internet.
Oh yeah, it's easy, it's great. So yeah, I think that's just like, maybe like an anxiety driven thing that I want it to be as tight as possible before I do it, and it takes time. Like that's why my upload schedule is pretty horrific. Like maybe once a month is all you're getting. But if they could come out faster at that same level, they would. But it just can't. And I'm also very like struggle with like showing people stuff before it's finished, or even like letting things go, because that's something that you said before, Jason, about being free to hand stuff off to other people, or like knowing when to do that, when that's the right call. But I really like struggle with that, because then it feels like it's not my own work. It's like the same reason to not use like AI, right? Because you use that, then it's like, this isn't my work anymore. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, similar sort of feeling as getting somebody else to, write or edit or whatever. Like somebody looking over it is fine, but I don't know. I have a lot of hang-ups about the whole thing.
You put a lot of production value into your videos, like everything you do, like your memes, even on your social media, like everything is like well put together, and you dive into the Postal lore like crazy. Like for us, it's impressive.
Thank you, man.
And it's funny because like there was somebody who commented the other day, like I think they gave us 3 stars out of 5, and it was like, I wish they went into like Apocalypse Weekend and Paradise Lost, and it's like, yeah, we wish. And that probably goes in a little bit back on your last question about any regrets. Yes, we would have loved to include it, but the film was already so bloated. But I always refer them to your channel. I'm like, if you really want to see any of the like deep dive Postal lore, go and check out Buff. Like he'll give you the content. Most likely, if they're Postal fans, they already have. But there's few that I've talked to that have been like, oh, thank you. I didn't know he existed. I'm going to check out all his content.
Thank you, man.
It's an interesting joke.
It's a marketing Ouroboros. We're just all joking each other off until everyone knows who we are.
We're all having a good wank here.
Yeah, exactly. Circle jerk.
You got a true soul of a creative though, which is awesome. You're passionate.
Thank you, man.
That's the thing that means the most. So as long as you don't lose that fire, hopefully you keep going.
Thank you, man. That really means a lot. I'll hold that one dear for the rest of my life, hopefully, if I don't forget.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole fuckload of like little details and stuff, especially in like the Ludicrous series, that like when it's done, I want to do like a like a stream where I just sit down and like watch the entire series and like go through and point out like little bits and pieces and stuff, because there's like even just dumb shit, just little tiny infinitesimally small things that no one will ever pick up on, or not like it doesn't even need to be noticed really, but it's there.
Oh, it sounds like Tad.
Yeah, exactly. We're basically the same guy.
You have to have that type of detail orientation when it comes to stuff like this. But yeah, I mean, I can see how that like you can struggle with that by yourself, because maybe sometimes you wish someone was there to tell you like it's okay, you can let go, or this isn't as big of a deal as it needs to be. And I think that's a little bit of me and Tad's dynamic. But at the same time, I mean, like whatever you told us your process, but internally it's obviously working because the results show.
It's getting there. It's all, every day is a new day to work on the process and refine it, and hopefully, every day you try to be a little better than the day before. So
yeah, there you go.
That's all you can do.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Keep leveling up.
There you go. You guys should just do a YouTube channel, and then call it that, and then you'll be all set. No, you need to bring yourself down to the level of scum that I'm on, or whatever.
No, Tad actually, Tad's thinking about getting back into it, huh?
Yeah.
I was just filming, getting back into it after 5 years. Took a 5-year hiatus to make this documentary, so now I can finally jump back in. We actually had a conversation about YouTube, Jason, me and Buff.
He's going to bring back the annoying orange, the younger years. He's going to do the follow up to that.
Just do the whole, what's up, everybody? My name is Tad Silly, and I'm here today to tell you all about Postal. I don't know if you know, but I spent 5 years on a documentary. Here we go. Bah, bah, bah. Boom.
Well, yeah, when I get completely burnt out of Postal, maybe you'll have like, that'll have settled for you, and you can just slide right in and take my spot as the main guy or whatever.
And you can grow out your hair.
We'll swap places, Buff. I'll take over your channel one day. You can take over mine. You can become the next annoying orange.
Okay, right. I thought you meant doing all the
Suddenly
filming and shit. Fuck that. Yeah. That sounds like work.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's pretty much it. I won't take up any more of your guys' time. I know it's probably getting pretty late there.
No, it's all good, man. Thank you for having us. That was wonderful. Appreciate being here. Yeah. And thanks for your time, man.
Likewise. Yeah, no, I've had a wonderful chat with you guys. It's been lovely, and I can't wait to see what you guys are cooking up next.